Today, as guys, today we are going to talk about aliens. Aliens, yes. We're going to talk about, how can you say this? Things not in our world universe. I don't know how you're going to want to say it. But we're going to watch a video clip about Rogan and Julius, I don't know who that is, talking about aliens and lost knowledge. God damn it. Knowledge. But yeah, I saw that story. I really want to know, what do you think about aliens? Do you think they exist? Do you think that do you think something else exists? I'm really interested what Joe Rogan has to say about this, so let's just get right into it.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
This is one of the things that they say. People that have been abducted. I had Travis Walton, this guy.
I've seen.
This
I've
guy
watched
with
it.
his
Yeah,
bobblehead.
yeah, I've watched
He's
it.
very compelling in his descriptions of his encounter with these beings. But one of the things that he was saying was they were talking to him, but it wasn't with words. Like they were communicating with him, and he understood what they were saying, but it wasn't. They weren't saying things. Like, hey, Travis, why don't you relax? Because we're here from planet fucking whatever it is.
The information was flowing faster
Yes.
because it was like boom right away. What I think, you get it.
Yes, they were explaining things to him in some
I
sort of.
was actually really hungry. Dus zijn als je calls van rijden, heel calls van rijden als een song, that did not exist in the past. That didn't we created this. So if that is something that we could do in the future, that would be really cool. I know for a goddamn shot that Elon Musk will create that. He is smart.
Telepathic way.
Wow.
And it was mind-blowing to him. And I think that that's probably the future of communication. Just like you can transmit information from phone to phone, right? You can call people. They're nowhere near you, but you can talk to them. You can send a
That's
video
true.
to someone. It's going through the air. It's just data, right? It's just information.
That is what I always think, like, how in the hell did they, that blows my mind. I can't wrap my head around that. How the hell did they create the internet? How did they create that?
Do
I'm
you
just
think
so confused how
Travis
they made
and
that.
Rob Lazar and all these guys that have extraordinary claim believe what they are telling you? I
Yes.
don't know if what they believe is true, but what do you think
You always need to take it a little of salt.
they believe
You know.
what they are telling you in a way that they're not lying, they're telling the truth of what they're believing?
I can't tell for certain, but I believe Bob Lazar. I believe what he's saying is true. I believe he's telling me. Now, Bob, he had one moment where he was passing by a window and he said he saw something that was small and these people were standing over it, and he didn't know if it was an alien or whether it was some sort of a.
You know, if, I don't know, you want to believe it, but it just seems so soft. It seems so mind-blowing that I sure about that.
A form that they were trying, like a doll or something that's supposed to represent the size of an alien or some sort of a model
That's weird.
of an alien. But he remembers he looked briefly through a window and he saw something small. He didn't see it move around. He didn't see it talk. So he doesn't know what he saw.
Yeah.
Because in his world, as he explained it, when he was working at Area 51, Site 4.
Oh, okay. I didn't know who that dude was. So he had worked with Area 51. So that's interesting. Okay. So now I want to read it a little bit more. It seems still so far-fetched that this is not just a man along the line of the street. Apparently that guy has worked with Area 51, or is still working with Area 51, so I don't know.
Site 4.
I don't know if it's
That's
true
where he
this.
worked. he said that it was very compartmentalized. And this thing is one of the problems with them trying to figure out, now this is assuming he's telling the truth.
Yeah, of course.
One of the problems they were trying to figure out was how to back engineer these devices, these ships. But the problem was they weren't allowed to communicate with other people outside of this very limited group of people that had access to these vehicles. And the people that were involved in the metallurgy were not allowed to communicate with the people that were involved in whatever the propulsion system was. They didn't understand what they were trying to decipher these things. But he said,
What?
and if you listen to the podcast that I did with him, that it didn't work because the scientific method requires multiple people to communicate and share ideas and explain, and they didn't do that.
You can't improve like that.
Right.
You need to share idea.
Right.
You can't do something and compartmentalize everything.
But my communication with him, I don't know if he was telling me the truth, but he didn't seem deceptive.
Yeah.
And he's a brilliant guy.
That's always you want to release something. Sometimes it's hard to release something. So, especially something like this. I'm not saying that the guy is lying, but it's just so sad.
When you
Yeah, it's clear. He's clearly like borderline genius. You hear
Yes.
him speak. He's very educated.
and
Yeah.
the things,
If somebody's really articulate like that, why would a person lie? You
some of
know?
the things that he talked
And the clouds.
about came to fruition. Like one of the things was there was a concept of this thing called element 115,
115,
right?
yeah.
Now that was not really proven until the 2000s, or somewhere in the 2000s. They used a particle collider and created this thing where it was a very unstable, very short-lived particle. But he was saying that wherever these beings are from, they have figured out a way to utilize a stable version of this element 115, and that's how
I'm
they
gonna look
propel
at it.
themselves. The things that he was describing were also exactly the same things that were experienced by Commander David Fravor, who was a guy who is a jet pilot.
I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he experienced this thing move in that same direction, that same way, where there was no visible propulsion system, but they tracked this thing going from 80,000 feet above sea level to 1 in 1 second. So that's the amount of time that it takes radar to track this. So it might have been less than a second.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
thing traveled from 80,000 feet to 1,000
No time.
to 1 feet.
It's
in
like
no
that
time.
thing in the.
I have heard stories where soldiers in army, in American army, that they saw UFOs and everything. So that's interesting. I really find that
With the
interesting.
hand, he says he measured the distance between the bone and the, like when you get in, you put your hand in it and measure the distance between your bone and the.
Oh,
and
the scanner.
Yeah.
Yes, the
That-
scanner.
there is a lot of things like this, and like Zacharias Sitchin was, like there's a lot of stuff that you can think of. That how could they know that at the time? But it's.
Well, the Zacharias Hitchens stuff is interesting, right?
Yes.
That's all the Sumerian text. The Sumerian text is some fascinating stuff because it's all from 6,000 years ago. And by the way, Zacharias Hitchen, he's very controversial. There's even a website called SitchinIsWrong.com, and it's basically scholars of ancient Sumerian who say that his translations are completely off. But even if his translations are off, there's still a lot of really confusing stuff about ancient Sumer. And one of the things is their depictions of the solar system. They had a depiction of the solar system 6,000 years ago that shows the sun in the center, and it shows all of the known planets in the outside. And they're relatively accurate in
Damn, that's mad. From 6,000 years ago. That's mad. Jesus
terms
Christ.
of the size.
Yeah, and how about the formation of the Earth? Tiamat, Marduk. I don't remember which one is what, but that's
Yeah,
the
formation of the Earth.
that's the
yes.
model that
Yes.
we use today.
Well, the
with
scientists.
the asteroid belt.
Yes.
Like that's
Yes.
the model that we use today. How did he knew that at that time? That's
I don't know how they knew that. When you're saying it's Earth 1 and Earth 2, and what that means is that there was an original version of Earth, and then Earth was hit by another planet at some point in the distant past, and that's what created the moon, and that's also what created the asteroid belt.
that goes on the
Ja, de laatste hoogte. Dat rond te hakken, dat something rond te hit AS. AS. Control. De laatste martin aan dat. Aan de wij. Ja.
different direction than the rest of the planet. Like they knew that too.
Well, there's
Like,
also a thing called Bode's law, and Bode's law measures the distance between planets, and it's based on the mass of the planet, and they figure out, because of the mass of the planet, how far these planets are from each other. And one of the things that fucks that up is the asteroid belt. I think what I might be wrong about this, but the distance between Mars and Jupiter is one of the things that screws that up, and they think that's explained by the asteroid belt, that some collision created this asteroid belt and created all of the, I mean, there's something like 900,000 known near-Earth objects that were created by the impact of these planets.
one thing I believe, and I'm sure you the same because you had a lot of these guys on your podcast, like Graham Hancock,
Yes.
Randall Carson, Jonathan E. West. Like
Yes.
there's clearly knowledge that we've lost
Yes.
in the past. Like this is for sure. Like just think about the Library of Alexandria.
Yes.
Man, imagine the knowledge that it was in there before it burned.
I
you
know. Imagine.
Oh man,
Imagine.
people thinks we lost like 1 millennia, like just when it burns. That
Well-
of knowledge,
Damn.
medicine,
That's sad.
botany,
Yes.
science. It's just
A lot of
crazy to
information
think of.
that the kid is
Very
used.
often, sometimes when crazy stuff happen like that, like I just think that perhaps they had knowledge that there's knowledge that we lost. Like just think about the Greek fire. It's a weapon that was used in the naval battle, and it's really known about historian. You can research. They still don't know exactly how it works, but it was so destructive. It was like
Wat? Er was al Greek, zei je. Greek. Zei je. Oh shit. Ik zei hem wel naar sa... Damn. Okay, Jesus Christ, yeah. That's a mad. Okay, Jesus Christ.
it's a weapon that was used in the naval battle, and it's really known about historian. You can research. They still don't know exactly how it works, but it was so destructive. It was like at the time it was like a secret weapon, like they didn't want to share, and it was known to be very efficient in naval battle.
I don't know what that is. I don't know about
Greek fire. If you go Greek fire, you'll get it. Boom. It was used in naval battle. So they used to throw fire, flames, and they used to people that are burning. They still burn in the water. So they think it was made with some kinds of petrol or
Dat is horrible. Dat is terrifying. Dat is on fire. And you think, oh, I'm going to the water to the sea to get it out. No, it's so on. That is so scary. If you are on fire and you are going into the water and it won't go out, that is terrifying. Er is een title, chicken nuggets, that I like that we learned some aliens and secret things to the colonists and how they were made in the class. That's kind of hilarious.
these two layers, So
Right. Well,
it's
that was
just
also
fast.
John Anthony West's concept of Egypt, that there's multiple eras, and that if you go deeper, like some of the stuff that they found when they dig deeper in the sand was a different construction method. It looked different designs, but still equally complex and fascinating. It's like there's probably many eras of human civilization, and there's probably been whatever it is, whether it's disease or some sort of a natural disaster or something that happened. Asteroidal impact was John Anthony or was Randall Carlson's and Graham Hancock's.
Yeah.
That's their theory. Is
12,000 years ago,
Yeah.
at the end of the Pleistocene era.
Yeah.
But Homo sapien is date to 3,000 years old. You know, so imagine
How many?
3,000.
No, Homo sapiens.
Homo sapiens 3,000.
I think it's older than that. I think it's several hundred.
300,000. Sorry.
Oh yes.
300,000.
Yes.
Sorry, my English.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Homo
right.
sapien is 300,000 in Morocco. That's just I'm 100% sure. That's why I read about this kind of stuff.
I think they think it's somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah.
Yeah. But so if you take that 300,000, 300,000 time for an evolution.
Right.
Why would it be only in the last 10,000 years that we would,
invent such immense structure?
It's kind of strange. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, it's also we're
That's
so
really
different
rare.
from all the other animals. Like we're the only animal that wears shoes. We're the only animal that wears clothes. We're the only animal that really manipulates its environment the way we do. I mean, other animals think, bees make beehives and shit like that, but they don't do anything.
Det är en helt tassat en startar car.
remotely interesting in comparison to what we're capable of doing and what we have done for thousands and thousands of years.
Kind of rare.
One of the things that Bob Lazar said that he was taught when he was at Area S4, at Area 51 S4, was that one of the things that they were telling him was that human beings are the product of accelerated evolution, and that these creatures occasionally come back to check upon our progress. And yeah, which is crazy.
Wow.
But that might be how it works throughout the universe.
What? That's not straight out of that. Like that, Zenga. What is
telling him was that human beings are the product of accelerated evolution, and that these creatures occasionally come back to check upon our progress.
What? What? I don't. What? Now you're sucking at my brain. What do you mean? The creatures come back to check on us. What the fuck? That is not make sense. Can you explain that to me, please?
And yeah, which is crazy.
Wow.
But that might be how it works throughout the universe, is that these beings that are very far advanced, they come back and they see these creatures that are pretty close, and they give them a little boost. They push them ahead a little bit, because otherwise it would take so long, and maybe we don't have the amount of time because of the fact that we're in this fucking shooting gallery of asteroids, that these things come down, and whatever progress you make is wiped out by impacts or by supervolcanoes.
It's crazy, but it's not that crazy if you look at the belief of human being through evolution. Like in ancient Greek, they believe in different. They were believing in different gods. They like in different times, different civilization had different belief. Now some people believe Jesus walked on water, which is fine too. That's their belief, If you believe that human was, the result of alien beings, it's another belief, like
it's not
everybody believe in different things.
It's not that crazy if you
No,
think
it's
about
not.
what
It's
we're
not.
doing.
That's mad. It's fucking out. Yeah, what was this? What the hell was that? That just opened my eyes. Jesus Christ, I don't even know what to say. That was really, I don't know if anything of this was real. Nobody knows. I'm kind of interested to learn more about other systems because do we really know what's going on in there? Not really, right? That was then Congo explaining me to reacting a video about other systems because I'm really interested in that kind of thing. So that was then Congo is such a great video about other systems, and I will react to that because I'm really interested in those kind of things. So I'm going to let go your thoughts on this video, guys, because it was really interesting to listen. Like, yeah, I don't know. It was just mad. It was really mad. Yeah. Maar dus, als je dat in deze video, dan ga je subscribe. Als je deze klikken en daarna video. Tomorrow. Ja.